Life is what you make it. See it every day on Rogers Television, York.
June is wedding month. What better time of the year to introduce you to a totally unique concept in bridal fashions? That's right. Benny Goodman, the owner of Sentimentally Yours, creates unique, antique bridal fashions. I know you're going to enjoy this program. And I'm John Dowson, and this is Profiles. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Right, and I'd like to welcome to our set again Benny Goodman, right?
Well, my name's Benedicta, but you know what? Everybody knows me as Benny, and it really suits me. So.
And you don't play the clarinet?
No, I don't. I should do that.
And Jan Emonson, and you're both from Sentimentally Yours.
Right.
Which is the reason for the
fancy dresses?
The fancy dresses.
Oh, yeah.
But these aren't rental. These are things that you've actually made.
Yeah,
right?
These are our basic designs that we work, because we do specialist evening and wedding and bridal wear.
So you're specialists wedding dresses, designing and making beautiful reproduction, bridal gowns and dresses based on vintage and historic patterns. This is what it says in my notes here, right?
Right.
And so this is what your business is all about, is to do, what is it, to design a period costume or a period dress for the wedding? It's not a costume, it's a creation.
A creation. It's inspired by the vintage garments that we have or that we see in books. We modernize them a little bit for the modern figure.
So the wedding party would be dressed in a period creation, what, from the 20s, or in this case here now, what you're wearing is Edwardian?
Yeah, this is actually based on an original day dress. What a nice stand up. Here
right.
This actually, the original we have in our collection, because like Mr. Dress Up has a tickle trunk, we have a really good one too. But it is an original one from about 1910, but the silk is all shattered on it, and of course it's tiny because people were much smaller. So then we literally sized up the pattern from it, and it actually does up the same way the original does. I mean, this is quite a complicated dress to get into, but it's actually quite flattering because, I mean, it hides a lot of sins for the modern figure.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So,
and that's Edwardian, 1910?
Yeah, about 1910 is the original was from. So we copied it. And then Jan also.
I'm wearing the same dress. Benny's is done in silk. And this one we did in linen, just to show the different ways that it can be done. And we would custom make a dress like this for anyone in the material that they would like.
And the hat, do you design the hat as well?
No, but one of the things that we try to do is accessorize the garments appropriately for anybody, and so this hat just seemed to work really well with it.
So where would you get the hat then?
Oh, there's a little word called wholesaler.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's choosing the right ones, like anything else.
And putting it all together, and also the earrings too. Now, would they be from the same type of era, the earrings that you're wearing?
They're actually a little bit earlier, but they are made by an acquaintance of Benny's who...
Well, actually, it's a woman that I knew from the antique business years and years ago.
And this is her work here, is it?
Yep, this is her work, all the little earrings and then the necklaces and the beautiful brooches she does. But she was in the antique business for a long time. She retired, she went into making the jewelry, but because she had all the background and she knew the designs to use, and she goes, you know, 18th century design she modernizes, and you know, the brooches are beautiful, and they're like $50, $60.
But you grew up, let's go back a bit, you grew up in England.
Yeah.
And your parents were in international art and antique dealers?
Yeah, it's where I learned how to do business, because people were coming and going constantly from the house. So it's funny, you don't realize after all the years that you actually follow what your parents do. But so now we have a home-based business where the showroom is set up in Mount Albert, and we do everything there by appointment. But yeah, exactly, dealers would come and go all the time from the house.
And what type of things would they be? Is it like the Antiques Roadshow at your place?
Then, no, I mean, they were there to buy, but Mum and Dad actually did. I mean, they dealt with London and Los Angeles.
That was their business.
That was their business. They were art and antique dealers, decorative arts and things. So.
It was international.
Oh, yeah, they were busy people.
And did you get into the business as well afterwards?
No, you see, I was still young, so we learned, actually, I mean, I have 3 sisters, so we actually learned the business by osmosis as much as anything. But no, I got into doing the dress end of it eventually because of the influence of when I was growing up.
So you would have a good, solid background in the antiques. Well, not only the antique, but you say the dresses and so on.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I can tell you a good piece of furniture too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like how much is this worth?
Yeah.
And Jan, you came up, but you're from Canada. Are you born in Canada?
Well, I was actually born in England too. But
oh, really?
I was very young when we came over, so I'm pretty much Canadian.
And you went to University of Toronto here in Toronto, studying the sciences, but somehow you made a switch.
Well, yeah, I had a couple of courses I need to fill up my years, so I took a course on ancient Egypt and thought this is a lot more fun, a lot more interesting, so I switched completely and majored in ancient Near Eastern or ancient Egyptian studies. And then I went on and took my master's degree in museum studies, where I learned how to run a museum in all different aspects.
And then you worked at the Royal Ontario, the ROM?
Yeah, I worked at the ROM for about 10 years in the West Asian department as a curatorial assistant, and then I also worked in the exhibit design department.
What does someone do? What do you do? Do people bring in things, or some archaeologist says it, and what would you do? Does say whether it's authentic and how to display it? Is that what you...
Well, we would do research on the objects that we had. We also did go on archaeological digs. We cared for the objects, made sure that they were in good condition and so on. And then we developed exhibits, worked on the text and worked on the displays for them.
And I noticed you worked at the ROM as well, the Royal Ontario Museum. Did you meet there?
No, actually. Jan was there a couple of years before I was. But, yeah, no, I actually trained in art conservation because, of course, coming from the antique business, the logical step is to learn how to restore the antiques. And actually, my sister does textile conservation beautifully. Does a lot of the restoration of, you know, tapestries and Victorian clothing. And then I actually did the ethnographic restoration. I worked on Sitting Bull's jacket when I was at the ROM. So
oh, did you?
I did, yeah. That's my claim to fame from the ROM. But yeah, then I got married and moved to Mount Albert. So then we actually spent a few years out taking care of young children and decided that Sentimentally Yours was going to happen. So
but your interests were really in the antiques or antiquity.
We both have
were, right?
an amazing background. It's amazing. We lived 4 doors of each other, you know. I mean, we were neighbors.
And then you moved to Mount Albert as well.
Yes.
And
the kids got together at school, so that's how we got together. And then
what's really funny is that a few years after we'd known each other and we were talking, realized that I went to university with Benny's husband's sister.
Oh, yeah.
A very small world.
and also worked at the ROM and had the same interest in the antiques and so on.
Oh, yeah.
But yours Asian studies.
West Asian, yeah.
But how did you decide on this Sentimentally Yours? I mean, where did this idea come from?
Well, actually, of all things, well, of course, I mean, when you live in an old house with old furniture and old books and things, it was sitting on the table, right? And Jan had come over because the kids had got together, and she was hemming a pair of pants or a skirt or something for a friend of hers, and we sat down, we had tea, and we started talking about the books that were on the table. And I went, oh, I'd just love to have one of those dresses made. And Jan said, well, I can make that. And so we just sort of discussed it a little bit more from there. And it grew. It took a few months before we actually really decided we were going to do it. But we'd both been at home with children. We were both ready to start something. So we renovated the downstairs showroom in the house, because I've had a century house, so it adds to the whole ambiance of the whole thing. So we renovated the showroom down there, and it was just before we put the bedroom wall in to make it a bedroom, we decided to put the hanging rails in to make it the showroom. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And what was the motivation behind it? Was it to do weddings or?
Yes, originally. Here we go. My girlfriend in England came over, and she was visiting me, and she said, oh, I'm going back to a Czech. I rented my wedding dress. And I went, you rented your wedding dress? What a brilliant idea. So then I thought, well, let's take this on a little bit further. Not only do we maybe want to do some rentals of things, So some of the actually modern wedding dresses I have downstairs, because sometimes when we're designing for people, we try onto modern wedding dresses to see what the necklines look like on them and things. So we have that collection of it, and then we expanded it into doing the reproduction stuff, because that's what our backgrounds are in, obviously. So sentimentally yours is sentimentally your wedding gown, but sentimentally your whole thing. It's a sentimental business.
And you took a course, you said, at the Community Business Access Center, which was up in Newmarket.
Yeah, it's actually at the Tannery Mall. They moved from the big admin building over on.
And they helped you get started here?
Well, that's exactly it. Because I mean, even though I'd come from like self-employed business people, that you still don't know everything you need to know. So I actually joined that program. It's called the Incubator Program, and it took me right through from learning how to register the business to working with partnership agreements to how you go about hiring employees, what's involved in about business. It's a great program.
Is it still going?
Oh, absolutely.
So
yes.
you recommend that?
Totally.
Now, behind here we have a picture of who are these people? Could you tell us about who they are?
These are my grandparents, actually. This is, well, she was a Brown and he's a Roberts, but he actually owned cotton mills in the north of England when he was a gentleman in his working days. So he employed a lot of the north of England. So I don't just come from like parents who antique deal. I've got parents who like genetics come down through the line, who are big business people, really. Yeah, it's like, this is why I'm here today, I think.
You do right by me, lad. Yeah. So you watch Coronation Street, I guess.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Well, of course. I mean, I grew up with it over there, so it's not so much of a novelty.
And is this one of your creations as well?
Yeah, I'll let Jan tell you about that one.
It is. It's from the 1770s, so the time of Marie Antoinette, pre-revolutionary. And it's called a polonaise, a two-piece dress.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. So there's an underskirt of silk, and you can see, perhaps you can't at the bottom of it, there's some embroidery, ribbon embroidery.
Oh, it's silk, yeah.
We try to use the best fabrics that we can because they sew up better. They have a much nicer look to them as well.
And you brought along some models that we're going to take a look at. Who's first? And Kamika, just tell us a little bit about this this creation.
Well, it's Melanie first, and she's wearing a dress based on a 1920s dress that we have in our collection. We modernized it a little bit. The original dress had long sleeves, and for the modern dress, we've obviously here made it sleeveless, and then we've trimmed it with satin. And on the bottom of the skirt there, you can see the ribbon embroidery with some beading on it, which is very typical of the time period. So although a sleeveless dress isn't so typical for the wedding, the trim that we've added to it and the whole feel of it is appropriate.
And you try and make these sort of, as you say, modern, so that we wouldn't have to wear all those corsets and things underneath.
Exactly. Well, the original to this dress was for a woman who wasn't quite 5 foot tall. It was a tiny dress, and a lot of the dresses from earlier time periods are very tiny. So this is an opportunity for someone to have a dress with a vintage feel that fits them and that they're comfortable in.
Now, who else do we have? Who's next? Benny?
Okay, Katie is going to come in actually an original Edwardian day dress. So this could be called a tea dress or a day dress, but here you are, Jan. This is your department. You like doing this.
You designed this, right?
No, this is an original one that Katie's wearing now.
Yeah.
Original?
We have a number of original
told you about
garments in
this
our
tickle
collection.
trunk.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. These are real dresses?
This is what comes out of the tickle trunk.
Yeah. So this one is from embroidery anglaise, the cutwork design, along with other pieces of embroidery. It's an interesting dress. It's one of the fun parts, actually, of working on the old garments is how they made them. This is all being pieced together. You can see in the detail on it. And Katie's able to get into this because she's a very tiny person, but the original person would have worn it with a corset.
And that's a 1910 actual dress.
Day dress.
And the hat as well?
The hat is a modern hat, but it has the right look and feel. We try to add the appropriate accessories. So Katie is wearing lace boots,
Lace boots?
Oh,
Yes.
show them the boots.
Show the boots.
Got
there,
to show
Katie,
Oh, we
please.
must see the boots. I mean, let me get a shot of the boots.
Yeah, lace boots that are.
Oh, and the parasol
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yes, and
Oh, there, lace
Oh,
boots.
see, we get into doing it all.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
lace boots, and she has the net gloves, and she has a Battenberg lace parasol, which again is entirely appropriate for it. So
Yes, that's... so with the wedding party, if this was one of them, would be you try and get them all in the same type of costume.
Well, the bride is always a little more special, so she gets a little more elaborate, and we tone down the bridesmaids, but certainly you can accessorize the whole bridal party with parasols and gloves. And
So we go from 1920 to 1910. Now we have, what, a 1960s. It's a... I remember the 60s. I know you're not supposed to, but I remember the 60s.
well, when it looks like this, you want to remember it.
this is a 1960s cocktail dress, and we really like this one. We think it would be perfect for a prom dress, an evening dress, or even as a bridesmaid's dress. We could make this up for bridesmaids short or long, and this one we often have in our showroom at the Antiques Mall. People like it very, very much. It's unusual with the pleated ribbon all the way around the neck and down the back, and the rhinestone trim as well.
This is from the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not what I remember from the 60s. I remember tie-dyed shirts and things like that, but...
This is the evening way.
Yes, exactly.
And would you like the pillbox hat and so on?
Well, a pillbox hat would more go with the with a suit, but maybe a cigarette holder.
Could we have all the other girls move in and just take a shot of the
Absolutely.
Yes, that
three
would
of
be
the
great,
people
Denise.
together? Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can open the parasol, so we'll see what it looks. Is that parasol original as well?
No.
No, so you had to make that.
No, actually that's not. That's a lot of years of sourcing the right stuff. So I actually found those, I forget where I found them, but anyway, I
So we
ordered them
have
in.
the, on the far left would be, that would be the 1920s, and
Oh,
in the,
yeah,
in the
sorry,
middle we have the
wrong way.
60s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have the 1910 with the parasol. We'd be twirling it, right? Twirling the parasol.
Oh, yeah, that's you.
Twirl the parasol.
So Katie's dress and Jen's dress, the 1910 and the 1960s dress, are originals, and we would custom make them for someone who was interested in having them.
And you must be pretty... when did you start this business now? It was
3 years ago we started it. Yeah, we started it 3 years ago, and so again, based in Mount Albert at the showroom. But we actually do have a retail space in the Newmarket Antique Mall, which is just on Main Street in Newmarket there.
Where is this?
247 Main Street, Newmarket.
The Antique Mall.
It's called the Newmarket Antique Mall, yeah, and I have a small space in a huge space. So basically what it is, it's there to display what we do, and it's open 7 days a week. Because we do everything by appointment as far as the consultations and the fittings at the house back in Mount Albert, we needed a retail outlet somewhere that people can come and see what we do more on.
Is that open 7 days a week? That I've seen it. Haven't
Gotta
been
go
yet.
in. Yeah, you gotta go. You can get lost in there for an hour or two, I'm telling you, yeah. But,
I like old antique stores.
Well, it's amazing what's in there, but basically, I mean, not only do we want to promote the wedding dresses and things, but my big idea is actually to do the whole wedding thing. I'd like to provide the gifts and the accessories and, you know, to sell the parasols and the jewelry and the whole thing. So if somebody just wants a pair of earrings or a parasol or 5 parasols or a pair of gloves, they can come and get that as well as maybe, you know, the wedding dress.
So that retail outlet, is that manned all the time, or just a phone number? Is there someone there?
It's staffed 7 days a week.
Is
so,
it?
Yeah.
No, in your particular area?
No, I'm actually there about 2 days a week because I'm in between the two places. So I try to be there 2 days a week, and of course the older my children will get, the more I can spend time there.
Wouldn't it be kind of difficult, I mean, to be there and then have to be creating and then...
You ever heard of cell phones?
How can you create while you're, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just difficult.
It is.
So what would the procedure with somebody, who usually comes to you, the bride or the parents or the groom or the both?
Both. We've had all of them, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
What we actually keep at the Antique Mall is a book of all of the photographs of things that we've done. So, and then of course there's the rack of business cards. So people will go through, they'll see what's there at the Antique Mall, they'll go through the book, and if they're interested in what we do, they take a card and then they call.
So what is one of the most unusual ones that you've had?
Gosh, unusual. Let's see.
Well, Monica's Edwardian interpretation with a big tulle, detachable tulle bustle. She wanted something that was fairly modern, but yet had a feel of being, you know, a historic gown. So we actually rented her one of the big hats, and we made her a corset top out of silk.
Do you have a photograph of that? Did you bring one?
No, actually not of that one, but I got one of Carrie Ann, actually, I can show you in a minute. But anyway, but again, she wanted a corset top, a straight skirt, but she wanted a big train. So we did a big tulle bustle, which is like the netting that's made out for wedding veils. And then we put in a lot of handmade silk roses into it. So, and then the whole thing detached so she can dance afterwards without having to stand on
Really?
it. Oh, we're creative.
And what did the groom wear?
Didn't actually, I think he actually rented like a modern tuxedo, because it's, you know, weddings of the 90s and the 2000s now, so they like the feel but don't necessarily want to do the whole theme thing. So again, it's getting the right balance.
And you brought along some pictures, I think, of some of the other weddings you've done.
You reach?
Here, just a second.
Oh, you have a 1-800 number
Oh yes, I'm 1877 for your gown.
for your YR.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Took me a long time to get that phone number. I had to wait for it. So
1-877 for your gown.
yes, yes.
And a website.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh, www.sentimental, was it?
Design.
Oh, sentimental design, all one word.
.com.
.com.
Yeah. Okay.
What is that one?
Okay, this was a lovely, lovely girl to work with. She actually came to us 3 weeks before her wedding. So it was in a mild panic, to say the least.
3 weeks before her wedding?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jan will tell you,
We
this
usually
is
like
lovely.
a little more time.
Yeah,
than
this was a little too close.
But she came and she had purchased a dress that she liked, but it wasn't quite what she wanted. She wanted a feel of the 40s, of the swing era. But she had a lovely lace over dress, and we decided what we would do is we'd make an underdress for her. So we had in our collection again a slip dress that was perfect for it. So we made a slip dress for her, which she put the lace overdress over top of. And then we had a veil in our collection, which is actually a Victorian veil.
Yeah.
But
Really? Another original from the tickle trunk.
Oh yeah. Now we've got a really big tickle trunk, and so we made it has a lace cap. We bought the lace and we made a very detailed lace cap, and then the big full tulle skirt and jewelry to go with it. And well, as Benny says, she
So
cried.
what
She cried
and the
when she
groom is
saw it.
dressed in some outfit too. What is this?
Well, we call it the zoot suit, but I guess that's what they were called.
From the 40s.
Yeah, from the 40s. So they got the whole look again, but that was just a rental. I mean,
And then he had his groomsmen.
it was lovely because you know what? It was the one girl and the 5 guys, and the photographs were beautiful. They really
they
were.
were.
Yeah, and they were all dressed in the costume.
Do you get to go to the weddings as well?
No, but when we're very lucky, we actually get the photographs back from them. So.
Oh, here's some others here. Look at this.
Oh yeah, we get the kids involved too. Oh, got to show them the flower girls. Here
Oh,
we
the
go.
flower girls.
Yeah.
These are the. And are they wearing authentic?
No, those are our reproductions
That's what I
of
mean.
Victorian gowns.
So these aren't
well,
real
that's what
animals. There's a tickle trunk, but these are.
These are what we have made. The dress that Sarah is wearing here is a polonaise, just like the big one back here. Only
With
made,
real silk?
No, we made cotton. Usually for the girls, we make them out of cotton because they're washable and they don't get.
And these are the ring bearers?
Little flower girls.
Yeah, flower girls.
Yeah, and Emma's wearing her Scarlet O'Hara.
Yes. Oh, yes.
This is a Scarlet O'Hara.
That's
Well,
what we call it.
yes,
for the
that's what
big
she
full
wanted.
skirt.
She wanted the big full skirt and just slightly off the shoulder, but she was only 9 there, so we decided not to do too low on the shoulders.
and what are these to some of these others?
Oh, this is me. This is actually me in the Ralph Lauren. This is a Ralph Lauren jacket, so a modern jacket, which we designed the skirt from about 1914, and it has a separate waistcoat underneath it. So that actually is a 3-piece suit, and again chose the right hat to put with it. So then again, you've got a look of an outfit with
Isn't
the
that-
jewelry and.
So do the people tell you when they come to what era they want, or do they look
Everybody
at your
calls
shirt?
everything Victorian, right?
They do.
Yes. Doesn't necessarily mean they want a Victorian gown, because 9 times out of 10 they were 2 pieces. They're very elaborately boned. You don't really move too much in the Victorian clothing, but they want something that's elaborate like that. So we've done like the big 2-piece 5-gore skirts with a separate, well, somewhat like the polonaise there, with a detachable bodice to it, and then.
Well, I'm looking at this here, this picture here, these two, and I see the bride's mother.
Well, yes, this was a mother actually, a mother of the groom.
Yeah, mother of the groom.
Mother of the groom.
Yes. Yes, she was lovely, and this is her 2 grandsons. So what she wanted is, this is an empire gown based on a pattern from about 1800.
And is this the same here?
No, this is a family picture, actually. There's me, my mum, and my sister, and here we are, the photograph in the back.
Oh, I see. So this isn't a wedding then?
No, this was actually done at the women's show, so that's how we presented the booth at the women's show.
So you could actually make a reproduction for the bride's mother or the groom's mother, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Jan and Benny. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and this is sentimentallyyours.design.com, right?
Sentimental design.
Sentimental design, but,
yeah.
But the name of the company is Sentimentally Yours.
Yes.
So if someone wanted to find out more about it, they could go to the retail outlet, which is on Main Street, downtown Newmarket.
Yes.
It's called the Antique...
the Antique Mall, the Newmarket Antique Mall.
Not the Antique Roadshow, Antique Mall.
The Antique Mall, yeah. And that's open 7 days a week, so they can go in there and see our display.
7 days a week? Or even on a Sunday?
Oh, even on a Sunday.
Ah. From what time?
Generally from 9 in the morning till, most of the time it's 7 or 8 at night, and on the weekends till 5.
And also they can contact you by phone. I see there's a that toll-free number again, that 187. Actually, it's 497-4696.
I know.
I'm better good with numbers then. But
well, most people are, but for your gown, they remember.
Oh, that's right. And I met you at the women's show.
Right.
And you've done a number of things like that. So and the Victorian garden party.
Yeah, we've done fashion shows for actually, she's got a gingerbread lady on Highway 48 there. So we did the Victorian Garden fashion show, and then we did a Midsummer Swan on Simcoe, which was at the Georgina Inn up in Jackson's Point. So
Plugged In did a good job too.
Plugged In, and you've done an excellent job. So.
Well, thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
And that's our show for this week, and we can look at the costumes or the creations before we go. That's our show for this week. I'm John Dowson. Bye for now.